Hello and welcome everybody. This is Dope Conversation and today we're having Kotani Pay and we're going to have an interesting session, a session where we're having snacks, we're having anything that will run by, and most basically it will be about Kotani and about tech. And before I proceed any further, I am your host Jesse Leslie and this is Tech Talk Africa. And let me introduce my host, or probably he'll introduce himself. What's up, my guy?
Thank you, Jesse. Niko poa. Very nice to meet you in person. Felix Macharia, CEO and co-founder of Kotani Pay.
Pleasure meeting you. So, can you, in a nutshell, can you tell me who is Felix Macharia?
So what I want people to know me for is I am a future seeker. So I tend to be very inspired and motivated by technology and what it can do, and especially new technologies. So I will usually look at things, anything from space to AI to like blockchain. Those are the kind of things that motivate me. And I'm also an entrepreneur, so I take risk in the hope of profit. And I build teams hoping for profit.
Let's avoid the professional side.
Yeah.
Who is Felix behind the bar?
I think at a personal level, I've always been curious. Since I was a child, I've always wanted to know more and learn more. So read everything from history to technology and things. And I think that then defines what I do now.
Oh, okay, interesting. So we're going to have some trivia questions, and for the audience it's not that much, but we're going to gauge Felix Macharia's knowledge. We get to see where he is apart from the knowledge of technology and any other thing. Basically, number one, when was the first 1 GB drive released to the world?
1 GB.
Yes.
That must have been a while back. Maybe 70s, 80s. I'll go with 1980.
1980. Yeah, for
Perhaps,
sure.
maybe.
For sure. This guy has read his books. He's good with technology, basically. And so we've answered who is Felix. So you've said you are the CEO of Kotani Pay.
Yeah.
Are you also the founder of Kotani Pay?
Yes.
How many founders are you, or it's just you?
Yeah, we were. It's an anomalous situation where we were 6 co-founders, and then we adopted this model where we have 3 main co-founders and then we have mini founders, simply because it's easier to run the company like that. But most companies will either be 1 founder or two co-founders. Alibaba had 18 co-founders, and most of them still hold positions within Alibaba. So in the case of Kotani Pay, it was 6 guys.
So whose idea was it behind Kotani?
It was actually a conglomeration of ideas, I would say. So the way we met with most of the current co-founders in Kotani Pay was as part of the blockchain community in Kenya. So back in 2017, 2018, there was this boom in crypto, and there was all this talk about blockchain, and we tended to attend a lot of these blockchain meetups. So I met most of the people within these blockchain meetups, and we discovered we were gifted differently, right? So someone else will bring in the branding aspect, and that's Kotani Pay's logo and everything, and somebody else will bring in the tech aspect, and somebody else will bring in the business strategy aspect, and it all worked out very well.
So what did you bring on the table, basically?
Yeah, so I tend to think from a strategic point of view, from a strategic level, so where we are now and where we want to go, and then try and bridge the gap between those two realities.
Interesting. So what is Kotani Pay?
Yeah, so the way I describe it is it's a technology stack. It's basically a set of technologies put together with the aim of connecting blockchains on one side to local payment channels on the other. So if you think about blockchains, whether it's Ethereum or any of the others that maybe your audience might know, to local payment channels like banks, M-Pesa, MTN money, that kind of thing. So you have this technology in the middle that enables these two to communicate and to connect with each other.
Okay, that's interesting. So in regards to that, what you deal with the currency, you say you are in the middle.
Yeah.
Meaning you're fitting some gap.
Yes.
What is that gap? Let's say it's called the financial inclusion.
Yeah.
What is the financial inclusion gap that you people were trying to solve when you say you are in the middle? Because the middlemen try to solve something, or they are avoiding something per se.
Yes. Or adding fees. But basically we like I said, the way we met was we were all participating in the blockchain space and in the crypto space. There are several advantages that we could see that come with blockchain as a technology. One of the very key ones is the fact that it is permissionless, meaning that if I decided today to participate in the blockchain space or to get blockchain tokens, as long as I have access to the internet, I can do that. So you know, typically, if you're, for example, getting a bank account, there's a lot of things you have to go through for you to actually get an account. But in the case of a blockchain account, it's as easy as, you know, getting your phone and downloading a wallet and you have it. So there's that permissionless aspect. There's also the aspect where it's open. So like you can actually see all the transactions, although they are anonymous. You can actually see all the transactions on the blockchain. You can get a feel of, you know, where the whole space is headed. Right? So, you know, sometimes when you send money, if you've had this experience where you're sending money from a bank account, maybe like RTGS, and you're waiting it to get to the other person, you don't know what's going on in the middle, right? But for blockchains, it's just a matter of seeing on the block explorer where the transaction is and how far the transaction is in terms of confirmation. So we like that openness, permissionless aspect. And then there's also the security and immutable aspect, meaning that as long as I hold my private key, nobody can access those funds. So unlike situations where you can probably be in a country where governments can seize your funds or the bank can freeze your funds, that kind of thing, with blockchains you tend to keep your funds, and as long as you have those, you know, private keys, you have the security, you are secure. It's censorship resistant. That's what they say. So we liked all those things about the blockchain.
Okay, coming to let's draw back.
Yeah.
You said you are the middle person.
Yeah.
How do you handle the funds, or the funds are handled somewhere else and then you get to do another thing?
Yeah. So what we noted was the blockchains are very good, but they're disconnected from local payment channels entirely. Right?
Okay.
So if I'm in Africa and I don't have a smartphone or I don't have access to the internet, there is no way for me to access a blockchain. So blockchains were very much built for a smartphone user, one. In fact, I would say an iPhone user, and they're also built for somebody with access to the internet. So what we seek to do is bridge that gap, so that it's possible for someone to create a blockchain account directly from a feature phone. So I can create a blockchain account from a feature phone. The funds are stored on chain because those are the advantages of blockchain. It comes with the security, it comes with the reliability, it comes with the openness and so on. So the funds are stored on chain, but you are able to interact with that blockchain account directly from a feature phone, even without access to the internet. And in Africa, people use USSD. Everyone from like a feature phone user to a smartphone user. A lot of us access banking services on USSD.
Okay, we've gone too far. We've gone too far. Yeah. We're ahead of ourselves. Yeah. So, okay, when you say you're handling these funds and you're going for USSD and the whole thing of blockchain is you get to, I heard it's trustless. Yeah. But you have this, it's called DeFi, and then what's the other one?
Centralized.
Centralized, yes. So Kotani is
just offering you access to DeFi. It's offering you access to blockchain protocols.
Okay, so do you believe blockchain will be fully decentralized, or it has to come with centralization at some point?
So it depends on what you're talking about. So I tend to think and believe that if you look at networks like Bitcoin, they're decentralized enough. At least you have like millions of nodes, and no one is stopping you as long as you're contributing to the network. Proof of stake, which is what many of the other blockchains have decided to go with, because less energy intensive, where basically your stake in the network determines your ownership. Your ownership then determines you can say what happens in the network. Basically, those ones tend to go towards centralization, or they tend to have centralized piece. So for proof of work, which was the original blockchain, decentralization is very much a reality. For proof of stake, I think we are still a far cry from actual true decentralization. Simply because if I have more tokens on the network, I can control the network, as opposed to somebody with 3-4 tokens.
So when you say that, a lot of startups, they claim to be DeFi.
Yeah.
So do you think it's just a word to get the customers, or what is it?
Yeah, of course. And that's the other challenge of having something that's decentralized, like most of these blockchain protocols, is that you tend to have people who take advantage of that, and they message themselves, they put out themselves as we are a DeFi protocol or a blockchain protocol. But in essence, they are none of that. So what Kotani Pay is not, is that we are not a DeFi app, or we are not a blockchain protocol. We just enable Africans to access those particular services from a feature phone, from a smartphone, and to even cash out to their local payment channels.
Okay, so basically you've heard what Kotani Pay is, and you've heard the people who are behind Kotani Pay and their ideas and what they believe about the blockchain. Now we go to our second trigger.
Okay.
It's not that hard, but
it's come very fast.
Yeah, it's come very fast, and the sessions I think it's very interesting. We still have more sessions to go. And you're from campus, in your workplace, you've had people using HP machines.
Yes.
Who are the founders of HP? What are their names?
Okay. So I think there's a guy called David Packard. I think the other guy, I don't know the name, but I think it's Hewlett. It's Hewlett and Packard. So there's David Packard, and the other guy, I don't know the name.
So you've actually said Hewlett Packard and David Packard. So who is who?
No, like there's David. I think there's David Packard. Yeah, that's a guy
you know about.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. What's that now?
We'll go to the answer.
Okay.
So I was reading an article on its Medium by Masiko.
Yeah.
About your pilot. Tell me why you thought of farmers, and farmers who are deep so far in Nanyuki, not any other area.
Yeah. So that's the particular demographic that we are most focused on. Because that's the majority of Africa. 57% of users in Africa still use feature phones. And a vast majority of them still don't have access to the internet. I know we talk about adoption a lot, smartphone adoption, internet penetration, and that kind of thing. And we are not really against that move. But if you want blockchain protocols to be inclusive today, that is to have or to make a difference in the lives of those people today, then you have to develop solutions for them. So what really, what we like about, farmers, and we even work with refugees and so on, but like what we liked about the farmer population in Nanyuki was, number one, they were using feature phones. Number two, they have no access to the internet, or they don't use the internet on a daily basis. So could we then connect these farmers to a DeFi protocol, to a DeFi pool like Mula market?
So tell us about Mula first, because majority of the people don't know about Mula.
Yeah.
What is Mula? On my personal terms, in shame, Mula is money.
Yeah.
So what is Mula?
Yeah. So Mula is a decentralized finance application on the Celo blockchain. Basically, you have people who own the Celo token pooling money in a pool, and when you contribute to the pool, you earn some yield from the pool. So you can be a contributor to the pool, but you can also be a borrower from the pool. So I can go and give some collateral. In this case, it's crypto collateral. It's crypto tokens I own. So I take that collateral and I get a loan on that collateral. I borrow.
Okay, so how do the farmers get access to the collateral? Because Mula market is very different, and you're helping the farmers access Mula market.
Yeah.
Do the farmers have the collateral?
Yeah, so in that case, what happened is there was a company called Sinch.
Okay.
So Sinch leases farms from these farmers and actually pays them for leasing the farms, and is responsible for most of the produce on the farms as well. So Sinch was the one that was staking. It was basically providing the collateral on behalf of the farmers and allowing the farmers to take out loans on that collateral.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is Sinch a group of?
It's a company. In this case, it's actually a centralized company. But they took tokens, staked them in Mula. They're able to stake them as collateral, and then they allowed these farmers what is called delegation to borrow from that pool directly. So it was a case where farmers are getting loans directly from a decentralized finance pool, as opposed to, let's say, like a microfinance institution or a bank or anything like that.
On a scale of up to 100, how many farmers did you acquire in your pilot?
So I think there were about 80. There were about 80 farmers in that pilot, and all of them, it was like 100% transition. I think the ones that have been able to pay back, it's something like 90% are able to pay back. And this is where now the benefit of blockchain comes in, because of the fact that they're using a pool, a DeFi pool, they're able to push down the loan interest.
What is the loan interest compared to the banks? They have around, I think it's 18 or 17.
Yeah.
And what is the interest loan for?
So in that case, it was like 8%.
Okay.
It was 8% if you add the whole process. So there was, I think, a bit like 4% being charged by Mula Market. There's a cash out fee, 2% coming from blockchain assets to mobile money. So it came to about 8%, which is quite fair.
Okay, so did the farmers know that they are accessing crypto, or they just knew they are accessing funds?
They just knew they're accessing funds, and that's the other thing about blockchain and crypto. For me personally, I feel like it needs to disappear in the background, so that you're using the technology without knowing that you're using it. Same way we don't talk about TCP/IP.
Yeah.
You just enter into an app and you use the app. You don't care about the protocols behind it. But there are people who insist that it's important that people know what they're using and know the advantages of using that versus the other. My personal opinion is, as long as it's an easy to use app and it offers better rates, for example, in the case of lending, more people will be drawn to that as opposed to something else. So blockchain has to prove itself in terms of the efficiencies it brings to some of these processes.
What are some of the challenges that you faced? These are local people, and accepting new technology sometimes is very difficult.
Yeah.
Like currently, I am still struggling to accept the cryptocurrency thing, because I believe in the efficiency fiat did give me.
Yeah.
What were the challenges? Those are older people than me.
Yeah.
And they believe in the mattress economy.
Yeah.
Where they stack their money down the bed and that.
Yeah.
What was the bigger challenge?
So funnily enough, because we decided to go with interfaces that they're familiar with, so in this case USSD, it's something they use on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So like to buy airtime and things. And they understand loans, and they understand that loans are charged in terms of interest. It wasn't very hard educating them on how to use Kotani Pay. The challenge came in on the tech side in terms of making these very disparate systems operate together. So you have Mula, which is a decentralized protocol, and you're trying to make it communicate with local payment channels in Kenya, M-Pesa and whatnot. And that creates this challenge in terms of the technology aspect.
A lot of people get to say M-Pesa and the government and crypto, it's a fight.
Yeah, it's a fight.
So how did you manage to do that with M-Pesa?
Yeah, so the way we look at it is, you have to focus on use cases that enable the local economy. Because the biggest challenge about crypto and all these things is, number one, probably money laundering. Number two is probably capital flight. Capital flight means I'm coming from the local currency and I'm using cryptocurrency to transfer funds to, for example, another country, etc. So we only focus on use cases that enable people in the local economy. In this case, for example, loans to farmers. We have done things like unconditional basic income to refugees, because in the refugees case they have like absolute poverty. So we are sort of like looking at crypto for good, right?
Okay. Tell me about the refugees thing.
Yeah.
I heard in a space that you're having recently.
Yeah.
You facilitated the refugees having funds through Kotani Pay. That is in Ghana.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So it's in Ghana and in Kenya. Basically, these refugees receive funds from another decentralized app called Impact Market. So Impact Market sources for funds from crypto holders around the world. It can be in Canada, it can be in the US. I just send my crypto to Impact Market's accounts. And the reason why I would be willing to send that is because I can see all the transactions are on chain. And then Impact Market just disburses the funds to registered blockchain accounts. So once you receive the funds on the blockchain accounts, challenge usually is, how do I cash out? How do I get it in mobile money? How do I access those funds? And that's where the Kotani Pay USSD mobile money aspects came. So if you want like to do these things, I think you must focus on things that are enabling the local economy. Work with regulated partners in your in your market. So in your case, we work with NGOs, the banking partners, and so on.
Yeah. So you can have a drink as we continue having more of these conversations. So we go to our third question, and I believe that should be the final. Something has been happening in Nairobi this previous week.
Okay.
A lot of dramas, a lot of things in the startup industry. To our listeners, this is Tech Talk Africa, and we are having conversation with founders, we're having conversation with investors, we're having conversations with a lot of people who are so passionate about whatever they're building. And today we're having Kotani Pay. They're getting to tell us about the technology behind Kotani Pay and the relational aspect of Kotani Pay, which is basically the best thing technology could ever do, is to bridge technology and to bridge the people together so that we can have a seamless ecosystem of the dependency on each other without having one superior party or superior party. And we've had a few sessions of questions, and you've heard about Kotani Pay. So back to our trivia. Something has been happening in Nairobi during this weekend. Startups are getting to embrace each other. They're getting to coexist. And there was a tournament. It's called Nairobi Startup Tournament or Startup Cup. And Cheaper Cash was there, Top of Mama was there, and a couple of other startups. And they were playing. So I believe since you were in the ecosystem, who won the cup?
Oh my God, I have no idea. I have no idea. And I've been so preoccupied with crypto crash and things, so I had time.
Yeah, the deep is taking you people very bad. Anyway, you need to be pinned to the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So, tell me, do people fear crypto? And is it something viable? Or it's the technology behind that is viable?
That's a difficult question. So the technology behind it, that's like a no-brainer. The advantages that blockchain brings to transactions, which I think will continue with or without crypto. For crypto specifically, I think it will be this thing we call the Pareto's principle. I don't know if you've heard about it. 80% of the results come from 20% of people. 80% of probably what you do comes from like 20% of your actions, and so on and so forth. And so in crypto, it's the same. I think we'll just have very few cryptocurrencies surviving simply because of the way they have been structured. So even if you look at, for example, the whole industry, Bitcoin and Ethereum have survived 2008 despite the crashes and all the everything that has been been going on. They survived to date because of the way they were structured as protocols. And we have had a lot of change in the top 10, like things coming and going, things coming and going. So we might have 2 or 3 cryptocurrencies that are very prominent. The rest are just like, it's just the same way you have like Android and iOS, and no one cares about the rest.
Okay, so I did cut you short when you were explaining about the refugees. It's how many jurisdictions are you doing the financial inclusion of the minorities?
So today it's Kenya, Ghana, Zambia. We are looking also to expand into a couple of more countries, about 6 by the end of the year. In Kenya and Ghana is where we have really worked with refugee communities. And like I said, they were receiving funds from this decentralized app called Impact Market. It's called decentralized UBI because anybody around the world can contribute to Impact, and then Impact Market just disperses the funds to users' blockchain accounts. So as a user in Kenya, if I'm in Kakwa, for example, probably I don't have access to the internet, I don't have like a nice device, I can just use Kotani Pay, enter into my account, and it's drawn into like local currency.
So you said you're using USSD. What is stopping you from going into the other market? That is the 43%.
So it's just a matter of focus. So like I'm a believer in, if you're building a startup, you want to take one focus area and become very good at it. So many people, when they look at USSD, they think, oh, that's old technology, it's probably falling off, etc. But we have seen a lot of traction on the USSD side. We also have an API, and actually the API accounts for most of our volumes now. But what the API enables you to do is, if you have a mobile app, for example, you can connect to the mobile. You can connect your wallet or your application to Kotani Pay and benefit in the same way anyone else would. Of course, somewhere along our roadmap, we have a mobile app, and that would be a customer-facing mobile app called Kotani Swap. But like at this stage of our growth, and with the number of people I have in the team, we are more focused on the B2B and B2B2C use cases.
Okay, so back to how people access Kotani Pay. And you're saying it's basically USSD for everyone, and you're going to the apps. And are you going the other way? You see, there's these cryptocurrency companies. Let's say Mara, there's Swery, there's which one? This yellow card. They're using the buy, sell, the normal norms. Are you going into this jump also?
No, I don't think that's our forte. It's not our strength. So I'm willing to be there competing with exchanges in buying and selling digital assets. It's lucrative. It has its own challenges. There's a lot of competition. I think our main focus actually is on stable coins. Most of what we use is stable coins for disbursements. And
what are these stable coins that you're using?
So a stable coin is a digital asset or cryptocurrency that's linked to or pegged to a fiat currency. Right? So like in the case of the US dollar, it's a representation of the US dollar, but on a blockchain. Or you can have a representation of a British pound on a blockchain. Right? So like a lot of our focus has been on stable coins, simply because even with some of the communities you're working with, they cannot afford volatility. They cannot afford to lose 30% of the $1 to $3 they have earned. Right? So like our focus is very much on stable coins. We believe there is something there. Even when you look at, for example, the growth of CBDCs and that kind of movement towards digitizing local currencies, I think we want to position ourselves for that particular market.
So, are you currently still in the pilot stage, or you are in the stage where you're fully working in the ecosystem?
So, Kotani Pay is fully functional. If you key into the *483 *35 for hash, you can access the app. Okay, you need to create an account, but like you can access the app and some of the features on the app.
Okay, so your pilot was with Cinch and Mula Market, right?
Yeah, Cinch, Mula Market, Massive Coin.
So for these other persons, how will they use Kotani Pay?
Yeah, so we haven't reached a point where we do, like I said, customer-facing applications. And a lot of that is, if you take on mass market customers, you want to offer the best service you can. That's one aspect. The second aspect is you also deal a lot with regulatory issues. So the approach you have taken is to serve businesses that are looking to use either our API or are looking to use the USSD side of things. So usually in the case of NGOs and others, they will approach us and say, we have these communities in this place. There are about 5,000, 10,000 individuals who want to send stable coins to them. And can you help with the offer? And we'll go ahead and we'll enable those communities to create accounts and receive those funds. In the case of the API, you can have a business that, for example, wants to tap into the blockchain for liquidity, and this is happening a lot with the loaning companies. Instead of getting funds from the traditional channels, you just tap into a blockchain protocol, you receive your stable coins. But when you're converting, instead of going to exchanges and all those complications, you use the Kotani Pay API to cash out to local currency.
So it's the other companies that are handling the KYC. You are out of the game.
We do KYC for all our customers, but yes, they come with the people they want to help. So, for example, if I want to help refugees, I come with the refugees. If I want to help farmers, I come with the list of farmers. A mass market product will require, number one, very good customer support, and number two, will require some form of regulation to be in place. And I think you see these challenges from time to time when we move one step forward and then move one step backward. Binance tries to enable like a direct entry from M-Pesa to the exchange, and then it's banned the next day. That kind of thing is for us. It's unnecessary friction at this point in time and in terms of our growth.
Okay, so is Kotani Pay looking for funding, or whatever you're doing is already your pre-seed?
Yeah, so we raised a small seed last year.
What is a small seed?
Yeah, so about $1 million last year, November. And that's what we are using for our current growth. In about 4 months' time, depending on how things are, we might be doing our pre-series A. So like, at least we're meeting our milestones for that round. Okay,
so let me take you back to the ecosystem, and it's out of Kotani Pay, out of things that have been happening. You've heard about Kune?
Yes.
Can you tell us something about whatever has happened and since the inception?
Yeah.
What do you think just happened?
I can't say I really know Kune very well. It's in a space that is very new to me. Cloud kitchens is like a concept that is difficult for me to understand, and the business model, according to me, is unproven. So like if you talk to me about on-ramp, off-ramp, I'll show you, for example, MoonPay, which is, I think, right now the biggest on-ramp company around the world. I think worth $3 billion. They're making money hand over fist because their business model is fees, and we are all very familiar with fees because we use M-Pesa on a daily basis. So they're these complicated fee setups, and many founders just copy and paste. So I take what I've seen in Asia or what I've seen in the US, and then I try and copy and paste the same thing in Africa. And it's also the reason why many crypto startups fail, because like you try to do a DeFi protocol for Kenyans, and Kenyans are bothered by the so I think one of the issues there was, I don't know if the business model was proven. I don't know whether the concept would apply to Kenyans really, in terms of like the cloud kitchen concept. And then it's also quite possible that with all the money that was out there, people looked to raise and without thinking about some of these things deeply. Yeah, but I can't really speak more than that.
We've come to the end of our session, and I know we are getting ready to hear the answers. The first question was, when was the first 1 GB disk drive released? That was 1980. That is the one for you. The second question was, who are the founders of HP? It's William Hewlett and David Packard. So we're going with 0.5. You mix up the answers basically.
Yeah.
In the recent games, whoever won the cup was Top of Mama.
Wow.
And you people, I guess you should look into having such interactions with such things. Yeah. And basically you've had it's 50%.
It's a pass mark.
It's a pass mark, 1.5 out of 3. That's a pass mark. And for our viewers, that has been Kotani Pay, and that has been Felix, Macharia. The session has been good. And go to our YouTube channel and to our Spotify podcast and Google podcast. You'll find this session, and there'll be a recorded session of this on Twitter, the Spaces. For those who have missed, we'll look into it. And goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
There you go.